Welcome to Mondays with Marsha, the last week of the fall semester, and what a semester it has been. I am so grateful to all of my good colleagues in the STAMP for all that they have done to enliven this place at a time when there haven't been that many folks around, but we have known you both virtually and in real ways. And I am so grateful to all of you for having participated in the life of the STAMP, but also having enjoyed the company of my good colleagues. Today, we get to celebrate the end of the semester, and not by thinking about all the exams that you have to do, but instead by honoring graduates and the fact that for some of you, this marks the end of your undergraduate or graduate career. And I am so grateful that today, as we celebrate graduates, we get to celebrate with a few of our STAMP family who are marking their special graduation this next week as we match their wonderful skills and talents and wits with the world's needs. So I am so grateful and am going to introduce each one of them to you and ask when I do that for them to tell you a little bit about themselves, what they've studied, where life is taking them, where they'd love life to take them. The first person I'm going to introduce you to is Valeria Morales, who is a graduate assistant and a graduate student who will complete her second Maryland degree this December. Not only has she been an amazing graduate assistant in MICA within the STAMP, but she was an undergraduate working in that very same office not so long ago. And so let me have her tell you a little bit about what she's been studying and what she'll complete her degree in when she has her graduation.
Thank you. So I'll be graduating next week and getting my master's in geospatial information sciences, GIS for short. And I feel like I always get the what is GIS question, so I'll just answer it. It's kind of like a combination of like geography and a little bit of comp sci and a little bit of statistics. I do a lot of like maps and satellite images and lots of Python coding and all of that great stuff. But yeah, I'm excited. It's a little bittersweet. I think 2 years ago, during this exact time, I was graduating. And I remember going to the STAMP winter solstice and I got my like STAMP pin and I was kind of just like, what am I doing with my life after this? And then I got into grad school and I started right back at MICA like a month later because I graduated in December and then my master's program started in February. So I started working in STAMP again in January. So it was a really smooth transition. I already knew the office, I already knew everyone. So it was just trying to learn a new role in the office. But I think now like it's hitting me a little more, I think, because I can't just apply to grad school again and transition right into MICA again. But yeah, it's like a sad but good feeling to know that I'll be moving on. And I'll definitely miss my MICA family. I think we're an actual family. We're actually friends, like outside of the office. And I'm always hanging out with like Gunva and we're always laughing and always laughing with Dorothy and Yvette and Erica. So I'm going to miss our morning coffee bar trips.
Yeah, Valeria, one of the things that you have done so beautifully has been to help us present and launch the Latinx graduation, which you will go through this week, but you won't be at the helm. And so tell me a bit about what that graduation ceremony is like for students and their families.
So I think to me it means so much more because it is in English and Spanish, even though the regular, commencement is a big deal. My family's not, they don't really understand what's going on. So the fact that Latinx graduation is in English and Spanish, it just means a lot to me. It's a lot more meaningful. My parents, my family really knows, like they actually know what's going on. And I think it also just means a little more because Latinx graduation used to only be in the spring. And last year I was like, I'm gonna make a December one. Like December grads were always just so like kind of put off to the side. So I was like, I'm gonna make it happen. So the fact that I was able to make it happen, of course, with all the help of Yvette. Um, and so now I get to participate in something that I put a lot of time to. Um, yeah, it's a little
You
emotional.
won't be alone. There'll be almost 70 graduates there as well, right?
Yes.
Which is amazing. So now we're going to Bright Afosu Jr., who is graduating this December from the A. James Clark School of Engineering. Bright, tell us what you've been studying all these years.
So for these past, well, I transferred there 2 years ago. So these past 2 years, I've been continuing with mechanical engineering, which is what I'll be getting my bachelor's in. So yeah, very thrilled. A lot of hard work.
A lot of big hard work. When you weren't studying and thinking great things and working on group projects, you were working downstairs in the stamp. Tell us a little bit about where you worked and what you did.
So I worked in the greatest department in STAMP, no shame to anybody else, but I worked in the student involvement suite, specifically SORC, with Nazia. I've been working there since January 2019. So semester after I transferred in, I started working there, and it's been a blast ever since.
Tell me one thing that when you think about the student involvement suite, when you think about SORC, um, if you were trying to describe this place and the people that work there to somebody outside of the University of Maryland, how would you tell them about the space and the people?
I would say it is the place for everyone to work at. It's like you don't know who you'll meet. It's been like every semester we've had new people come in, so it's just like you get to meet all sorts of people from all sorts of different places on campus. So um, a huge mixing bowl, so I would say.
Yeah. And when you think about those students who are just starting off at the university and looking for a way to engage, what's been your best advice that you would give those students as they came in to seek opportunity?
The best way for them to engage, definitely check out the First Look Fair, so you can find out what student orgs you would definitely align best with, because that's the best way to get involved. Because that's what I did when I first transferred. I went to the First Look Fair. I went to go find clubs, and little did I know that that was through my future job that set that up. So
That's kind of
definitely
amazing.
the First Look Fair.
All right, so tell us about one of those groups you may have joined. Did you join a group that has become close to your heart?
I joined the African Student Association. I joined the American Student Mechanical. Sorry, I'm looking at the acronym wrong. Well, I joined ASME, which is like the American Student Mechanical Engineering Association. I might have got that wrong. I joined Engineers Without Borders as well, and yeah, those were like my top three. ASME. Oh yeah, ASME. That's right.
You know, one of the things I know is that engineering is really a rigorous study. What you learn about yourself in becoming an engineer?
That I don't like the technical work anymore. That I mean, I've learned that at least I wouldn't say I learned by myself. I learned that you can't do it all by yourself, especially with engineering. You have to do it with others. So sometimes you need to know when you need to ask for help if you don't understand something. So it's like I learned that I can't be stubborn and try to do things by myself, especially when I got to Maryland. Because like at my last school at my community college, I was like, oh, I don't want to ask for help. I can do things by myself. And then when I got to Maryland, I was like, oh, if you need help, you need to ask for help.
That is just sage advice, not just for school, but for life, right? When you need help, to know how to ask for it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. So definitely.
We all do. I'm coming back to you, but let me introduce you to Nazia, who is Nazia Khan, who also worked this last period of time in the Student Involvement Suite in the Student Organization Resource Center. Nazia, you are going to finish with a double major. Tell the world what it is you've studied in your Maryland years.
Yes, thank you, Marsha. I am double majoring in finance and American studies with a minor in technology entrepreneurship.
And secret dream, as you think about the future in the world, if you could do anything in the course of the next 10 years of your life, what would you do?
I would be an event planner.
I
I
love
that's
this.
I get that question sometimes where people are like, if you could be paid the same amount for anything, and you could do anything you would want, I'd be an event planner because there's just so much joy in seeing an event come to life and all the details. Yeah.
I think that's fabulous. Did that sort of dream get fueled at all by the kind of work you were doing in SORC and in the STAMP, in the Student Involvement Suite?
Yes, definitely. I think with working at SORC, it allows you to kind of see the behind the scenes. It allows you to see all the meticulous planning that really goes into all these big events, like the first look fair, the second look fair. Even working in the student involvement suite, we work a lot with C as well, and seeing their events come to life. It's just when it actually happens and it's finally done, the relief you feel, the goodness you feel after, it's undescribable.
That's so terrific. You know, we often talk about the fact that what you learn in the classroom is really equally as important to what you learn outside of the classroom. So tell me one lesson you learned inside of the classroom and one lesson you learned outside of the classroom that has equipped you for life.
That's a really good question. I think that a thing that I learned in class is that you really do have to be proactive. It's something that Bright did touch upon, and you have to, when working with a team. We're all leaders at the table, and we all provide different pieces on the plate, different portions of the food, whatever it is. We're all providing something on the plate, and I think a lot of the times we think we can do it all,
Mm.
and it's okay to ask for help and to rely on others. And I think a lot of the times college students, we kind of hate group projects, but I think they really do teach you how it's going to be like in the workplace when you do work with other people. For my dream job, like being an event planner, I have to depend on so many other people. Working at SORC outside of the classroom, I have to depend on my coworkers to do their job so that I can do mine. And allowing, like, depending on my managers to do their job so that I can do mine. And so it's a lot of um depending on each other, but not in a bad way, more so in a way where, like, it's kind of like a domino effect. You do yours, I'll do mine, and it just keeps going, and then when it's finished, it's a sigh of relief. And so yeah.
You know what? I think one of the ways in which I know you depend on one of your coworkers is that, Zia, I think you have a sibling that works in the same place you work on campus. Is that right?
Yes, that is. He just recently transferred from Montgomery College, and he's a junior. And I was like, "Do you want to work in the best place ever? Like, you should go." And I felt so bad because, like, he transferred over and he didn't really get the campus life. And so I'm so glad that he's on campus now as because we're both commuters. So he's getting that little bit of campus life even at home.
That's so terrific. All right, now here, all three graduates, I have three critical questions. No one has to answer all of them, but it's like the lightning round. Um, if you had to think of your most favorite physical space on campus, what would it be?
Definitely SORC. Because before I even started working there, I was actually always there the first semester I transferred in because I didn't know anywhere else on campus. So I spent most of my time there, met most of my friends there. So definitely SORC. So, and everybody knows I'm always there. Even if I'm not working, I'm there. So
I know, I can never tell if you're working or not. You're just there.
see?
All right, favorite place on campus.
I have to jump right off of right because literally the same answer. All of my friends, that's the hangout spot. That's the place to be. If I'm working, everybody comes to the desk, has a little chat with me, or if I'm not working, you can still find me there. But yeah, SORC is really the place to be. It's a community. It's it's something where you go and you're just like, I know I'll find someone there to talk to, and like you feel that sense of community. So yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Valeria, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to choose Micah. It's the same feel, like I can go in and know that like I can make myself some popcorn in the microwave or grab one of the mugs and make myself some hot chocolate and someone's always laughing. We always like have a movie up on the screen. You never really know what you're gonna walk into. One day there's Mulan, another day we have Beyonce. So um Yeah, it's always a surprise when you walk into Micah and we're always laughing. I think students, staff, are always just, having a good time. So it's a good place to be.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things I think about is how we've all sort of worked our way through this fall semester. And life hasn't been exactly like we thought it would be. And particularly as it's your last semester of college, you'd want it to be everything it's always been and more. And so I think about those spaces in Micah and in the student involvement suite where normally it's just vibrant and full of people working on papers and hanging out with each other. That hasn't necessarily been who we've been this fall. So when you think about how your last semester, and particularly your last kind of 2 semesters of college and graduate work have been impacted by COVID, what do you think has been one of the sad sort of outcomes of that? And then what have you taken away that, is sort of this really important silver lining to what you've learned from COVID?
I didn't get to like enjoy like the last semester, so I was just like, oh man, like. But there's like nothing that we can really do. I can't really make COVID disappear. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's how at least I felt.
Any silver lining to COVID? Have you learned something about friends or yourself or communication or who you want to be when you grow up because of COVID?
It's actually completely unrelated. I saved a lot of money
True.
because like I moved back home as a result of COVID because I was like, I'm not gonna pay for a place if I'm not living on campus. So for me, that was my silver lining for these past 6 months.
Sure.
So
Sure. Thanks, Bright.
I think the saddest part is not being able to walk across the stage. Um, I guess I've already had the experience of walking across the stage, but um, yeah, like I'm the first in my family to get a graduate degree, and yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah, it
Even
does.
though like the silver lining of that is that family who can't be like, even if I was walking across the stage, not everyone can come to Maryland to see me walk across the stage. So a silver lining is that I can just send everyone the link and everyone can see my name on the screen from their own homes.
Yeah, it's even in the spring when we were doing it, it still felt beautiful in some ways because families were posting pictures and they were tweeting about this is our child and we're so grateful to have that person graduating. So it can be beautiful. Nazio, anything that you think about COVID's lessons learned or disappointments gathered?
Just like both of them, it's bittersweet. It's like, yay, I'm graduating, but it's kind of like I can't walk the stage. I worked so hard these past 4 years just, just for not to walk the stage. So it's kind of like it's really hard to digest. It's really hard to um it's just bittersweet. Like that's just the best way that I can put it. And yeah, like I'm happy that like my family from like out of state, even back home, can tune in to me walking across the stage. But there is a dilemma with that because all of the school's graduations on the 20th are at the same time. So I have to choose between RQ and Smith, which really sucks. But I'm a commencement speaker for RU, so that's probably going to be my that's going to be my school choice. But I think my silver lining for COVID is just being at peace with being alone and being at home. I think I learned a lot. I even started my own business, my own bakery business, and it kind of shot up. And I learned a lot about myself, and I even got a little cat. I'll show you, but later. But yeah, I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about myself, which I'm super thankful for.
Yeah. You're the commencement speaker for Arts and Humanities. We're so proud of you. We're going to all be like,
Thank you.
she is ours. She is ours. So I want to ask you this one last question, and you can answer it in any way. The opportunity we each have when we are in a place and amongst people is to leave our mark on that community. And when you think about the gifts and talents and emotion you have shared with others, what do you hope that you're remembered for? Um, and it can be anything. It can be a feeling, it can be a way of being, what do you hope you're remembered for? How did you leave your mark on this place?
I want to be remembered as like always laughing through like the pain, through the struggle, always trying to find like the bright side of things.
It's a great attribute that will serve you well in life in these months ahead as we inch our way through.
I love that question. I think it's something that all graduates should reflect on. I think the way I want to leave my mark, or I hope to leave my mark in a few couple days, weeks, is to know that I made a difference. Made a difference in somebody's life, or just even in their organization or in their club, and assisting them, or even working with my managers, my coworkers, my peers in my classes. I really, really hope that um, I made a difference, one way or another. And I think that just like a pitch to Sork, I have left a legacy behind, my little brother, and so I hope he continues. And I know that me and Bright will be heavily, heavily missed. Me and Bright started at the same time, and um, I know Sork will be in pain for a little bit, but it's okay. We still love you.
For starting my film career here at Maryland, like a lot of people know that I've been shooting videos since I transferred, and like it really helped shooting here. So I at least want to be remembered for that I started here, and I'm only going to continue up from here. And everybody who's helped me from the beginning, it's like I'm not going to forget them, and hopefully they won't forget me either. I mean, that's how at least I want to be remembered. I
So
started.
when you make an amazing movie, you're
Mhm.
going to remember us and we're going to be invited to the world premiere.
Everybody here is invited.
Okay, good. We're counting on it. We're counting on it. One last question. If you could offer a piece of advice to incoming students, whether they're incoming undergraduates or graduate students, what's the one piece of advice you would give them?
don't don't be afraid to get involved. Get involved, because if you don't get involved, 4 years later you're gonna regret that you didn't do anything. You didn't meet people, because if I didn't get involved in the student orgs that I was involved in, or I didn't work at SORC, or I never stayed at SORC, I would not have met the people I met. I would have never got the opportunities that I've had. I probably would not have started filming. I probably would not have never made the friends I've had that carried me through the engineering school, because you need friends to carry you through that school. So definitely get involved, because if you don't get involved, then I don't know what to tell you. So why not get involved?
Going off of that, that it's okay to be uncomfortable, like put yourself in uncomfortable positions. Um, Joining an org is scary, especially when you don't know anyone, but you know you want to get involved. So, yeah, it's okay to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and like you could always change your mind.
It's great advice, Valeria.
I think the advice that I would say is that comparison is a thief of joy. Everybody has their own path, everybody has their own way of going about things, and you might not get a job right away. You might not get the internship right away. You might not get the course that you want right away, and that's okay. And to remind yourself that that is 100% okay is important, because you're going to be surrounded by a lot of individuals, especially like at UMD. You're going to be surrounded by such amazing people, and instead of looking at like, dang, like they have that, no, they worked for that, and they worked for that. And so it's not your time yet, but it will come. And so our time has come to graduate. And so just remember that comparison is a thief of joy, and you grow through what you go through.
That's beautiful. You guys are the best for having shared something of your own stories. And I think what I love about the stamp the very most are the people, and the fact that regardless of what corner of the building you find yourself amongst friends. And thank you for the gifts of advice and wisdom you've shared with folks who found their way to the stamp, into Micah, into Sork. Thanks for sharing your time. In addition to the work you were doing as scholars, you were also being leaders, and that has enriched your career, but it's also enriched our community, which is terrific. I want to let everyone know that I know you're in the midst of final exams this week, and so we want to make sure that you can find that release that you need in order to work your way through. believe it or not, on the 15th of this month, it is UMD Celebrity Bingo. That's right, you can win valuable prizes. And among the callers for bingo that night, during the day from 12 to 1 on the 15th will be President Pines, Vice President of Student Affairs Patty Perillo, and grad and undergrad students, that's right, can win $100 gift card to Target. So you want to play a little bingo just to release your mind from whatever statistics or math or GIS problem you're trying to solve. There'll also be a few other programs. There's an Interfaith Season of Hope that'll happen on that very same day from 5 to 5:45. That will happen Facebook Live. You get a chance to do a little cooking on the next day, the 16th, cooking with Bryn. That'll be just an amazing opportunity to learn to make no-bake chocolate mousse. That could be yours. Also, they'll give you all the ingredients you need to do. So check that out on the stamp site. And then in December, our friends over in Recwell are doing some pretty amazing fitness classes that are virtual. So if you want to work out before you study for that mechanical engineering exam, this is your chance to do that. And Hanukkah is being celebrated at both Hillel and Chabad, and so take advantage of their virtual celebrations as well. I am so pleased and absolutely inspired to know that the world has gained some new graduates at the University of Maryland, and none make me happier than to know that not only are you part of the stamp family making your way into the world, but that the world is enriched because of you. And just like Valeria said, she got this stamp pin. We will give every graduate, even those that get a second one, both graduate and undergraduate who've worked in the stamp, get an amazing sort of crazy pin that is Adele Stamp's portrait. And it's a way of saying, you're ours forever, come home often. Thanks so very much, graduates of this last of 2020. May the world find you in a beautiful place in just a few weeks.
Thank you.